What's going on, guys? Jay the Black here. Salute to everyone that's tuning in. I want to talk about Brittany Renner. Brittany Renner was on a podcast, another podcast. She does her rounds on these podcasts, don't she? And she spoke about the age gap situation with men and women, particularly older women and younger men. But she spoke on it from her experience of a 26-year-old woman dating an 18-year-old male. That's how old PJ Washington was when they started dating, which basically is her admitting that, she basically started dating this guy when he was fresh in college. But they really didn't get serious until after he got drafted. So that could just been the courting phase of her just, who knows, right? But she was speaking on as if it's a double standard because you got older men, in her words, like a Jay-Z who dated Beyonce when she was younger than he was. I don't know if that's a really good example because Beyonce was in the industry and she was considered legally an adult, right? She was well known when Jay-Z started dating her. I'm not going to get into particulars, but Jay-Z has been with her for a long time. Married, children. She wasn't just a female that he was dating, briefly like some other female that's in the industry. I'm not gonna get into that, right? Jay-Z's been known to date the younger females, right? But I don't know if that's a comparison because when she tried to date a younger guy, it failed miserably. Now, I support people dating whoever they want to date, especially if you're an adult. As long as you're dating another consenting adult, I have no issue with that. My issue is when you date these younger guys and the relationship falls apart. And you want to make it as if this guy manipulated you, as if he misled you. He's a younger guy that you started dating when he was in college. Remember when he was at those Kentucky games? So how are you going to sit there and act like he had this hold over you when you were dating him? Because that's how it comes off. It comes off as if the relationship failed only because he was doing this, that, and the third. You don't take any accountability for why that relationship failed. That relationship failed because, one, he was a young NBA player who already has this amount of responsibility on his shoulder, but also he is a new father. It seems like he likes being a father. I don't think he's running away from fatherhood. So what was the cause of the breakup then? It was because he wasn't ready to have a family with a woman who was close to 30, who was seeking in him somebody that can be something that he wasn't ready to be. Because that's how it seems. I like when women are supportive of dating younger guys, but then when that relationship folds, you're ready to blame a guy who was younger than you as to why it failed. I'm not saying that PJ Washington shouldn't get any accountability for why that relationship fell apart. I'm pretty sure he would admit it was a mistake. But it just seems like she is not able to look herself in the mirror as to why that situation fell apart. And there's a lot of women like her. So she can date as many young guys as she wants to, doesn't mean it's going to work. And again, I have nothing against younger guys dating older women as long as they understand that you're dating a woman that's going to be a lot more experienced than you and a woman who comes with a lot of baggage. And she came into that relationship with more baggage than PJ Washington did. So let's get into what she had to say here. Let me get this on screen because we're going to talk about this because, once again, she wants to call out everybody else except for herself. Now, this, according to It's Game 7, says Brittany Renner is very prominent social media influencer who rose to prominence over recent years thanks to one particularly high-profile relationship. Although Renner has been linked to various romantic capacities to the likes of James Harden, Drake, Lil Vert, Jamal Murray, Ben Simmons, Trey Songz, Chris Brown, Colin Kaepernick. The one that really put her on the map, however, was her relationship with PJ Washington. That really is what got things going because it presented a particular storyline. One of the issues that spectators often had about her relationship was the massive age gap difference between Renner and Washington. It was a dynamic similar to the one that currently exists between LaMelo Ball and his much older girlfriend. Recently, Renner appeared on tonight's Conversation podcast and addressed the topic of older women dating younger men on. As far as she is concerned, the criticism women get in these situations is deeply unfair. Let me say this about LaMelo Ball, okay? You don't hear nothing about LaMelo Ball's relationship. LaMelo Ball is a very mature young guy. Now, he has his immature moments. I'm not going to say he doesn't, but he's a guy that you don't see a lot of drama with him. I mean, there's been instances of drama here and there, but he has pretty much kept his relationship in check with this older woman who seems like she's desperate to hold on to this guy, right? But the thing is, though, I don't see a lot of outrage going in that direction with LaMelo. People don't even talk about LaMelo's relationship with Anna Montana unless it's brought up. Either she's bringing it up or he does something that brings attention to it. But nobody pays attention to LaMelo's situation with Anna Montana. One, because the guys that Anna Montana has dated, she hasn't wrote a book about them. She hasn't discussed her slorish ways, publicly to anybody. That's the difference. But again, these younger guys have been dating older women. Like it's nothing new. I mean, it's not a new phenomenon. It's been going on. I just think that Renner didn't like the criticism that she got. She felt like she was being blamed, and that PJ Washington wasn't getting any blame. But the thing is that if that relationship was actually held together for the right reasons, you wouldn't have to worry about that. People would have stopped caring about what you had going on. But obviously, she picked the wrong young guy to get into a relationship with. But I don't think even LaMelo would have been able to keep her in check, so to speak, because she'd still be out there in the media doing crazy things, saying crazy things. So I just think that it's just the situation. I think certain situations are different. But, Brittany Renner is Brittany Renner. Now, this is the clip here, and we're going to play it.
There's a 12-year age gap is what we're talking about. So if I'm 30 years old and I'm talking to your son that's 12 years younger than me, what's the problem?
Do you understand?
Can I answer that?
Go ahead.
My problem with that would be is that you have more experience than he is, and I would want him to live his life a little bit more before dealing with someone that's seasoned. I have two children, two sons.
I have a son as well. So, I mean, I think even when I think about Jay-Z and Beyonce, whether you're talking about me or Jay-Z, what's the difference?
I wouldn't encourage my son to date someone that's 12 years.
Now, see how she brings Jay-Z into it? Once again, you can't use that example because Beyonce, first, consenting adult, and two, she went on to marry Jay-Z and have a family with them. They've been together, officially since 2003? And we don't even know if that's Beyonce's age. Now, I've seen where people have said that Beyonce is actually older than her reported age. So Beyonce actually could have been older when she met Jay-Z. There's more hip hop relationship historians out there than me, right? But I don't know if you can really use that because he's still with her. That relationship didn't fall apart after less than a year after a child was born, right? Brittany Renner was just so eager to have a child or to have a family with PJ Washington. PJ Washington didn't want to settle down with her.
12 years younger than him either. So immediately, the conversation went to the comparison. I hold both parties accountable,
right?
And I wouldn't like either of that, any situation like that.
That's fair.
It is fair, and I think once again, Brittany Renner got to understand that people have standards, and people hold women to a high standard like they should be. Women don't want to be held to a high standard. See, that's the problem. Most of these women nowadays, they don't want to be held to a high standard. It says, so if I'm 30 years old and I'm talking to your son that's 12 years younger than me, what's the problem? When the host pointed to the clear mental development differences between two parties separated by more than a decade in age, Renner responded by pointing out that Jay-Z and Beyonce were separated in age by 12 years. Yeah, but Beyonce's world experience was a little bit different than somebody that's fresh out of high school. Okay, people want to use this to bolster their arguments, but how? You know, Beyonce was in the music industry. You know, she had been everywhere, all over the world, famous, when she officially got together with Jay-Z. And the thing is that I know that there's a lot of older women that really don't even date younger men, right? I don't think it is widespread as it is. Now, there's a lot of older women that are sleeping with younger men. You do have that dynamic going on. You do have a lot of older women that are sleeping with younger men. But there are women who will publicly say that they won't date a young guy, right? And when it comes to older men dating younger women, yeah, it has gone on for a long time, but usually it's because that young woman wanted a provider, a protector. So she would choose a guy who may be older, who could do those things for them, right? But I see a lot of shaming of older men now. Leonardo DiCaprio, other men in the industry, or even men in general, if they're dating a woman that's more than 10 years, like an age gap, women have a problem with that. So I don't think men are getting away with anything. I think if any guy is dating a woman who is clearly younger than him, especially by 10 or 12 years, he's going to get criticized, right? I don't think women, for the most part, are going to get criticized too much for dating young. But I will say this, though. Anna Montana, who's dating LaMelo Ball, she did get criticism at first, but she dealt with it and kept it moving. Are anybody talking about Anna Montana now? No. And there's a reason why. Immediately, the conversation went to comparison. I hold both parties accountable. The host replied, a lot of this conversation stemmed from Renner recently going to a college campus and a video of her behavior subsequently coming out online. Some felt it was inappropriate, where others didn't really see the issue. Big picture, Renner has been a mainstay in sports headlines for everything ranging from what Colin Kaepernick allegedly made her do to getting rebuffed by Cam Newton to her face to publicly calling out NBA wives like Aisha Curry and Savannah James. And also, yeah, when she talked about hide your sons, that was a Brittany Renner decision to say those things. You know, she is the reason why she goes viral. You know, she wants to go and embrace her slordom. Embrace the slordom, but understand there's going to be criticism there. Going on all these podcasts and having all these conversations is not going to change anything. At the end of the day, you're still making the same decision. Listen, this is the same woman that just threw a drink in the dude's face not too long ago, okay? I made a video on that. So we all know that Brittany Renner just doesn't like to be criticized. She doesn't like people to speak against what BS that she's doing. So of course she's going to feel some type of way. But I think she needs to get her mindset in the right place and move on. Stop trying to be something that you really don't want to be. I don't think Brittany Renner wants to be what she is being perceived as, but she's embracing it. One, because she's lonely, she ain't with nobody, and two, because she still wants to be famous and be an influencer, and she feels like this is getting in the way. But Brittany Renner is getting in her own way, right? You wrote the book, and even though if she could say, well, the book she wrote wasn't about the guys that she slept with in the industry, but you promoted it as if it was. You told the stories. All we do is listen and give you feedback. So let me stay in the comment section below. Let me know your thoughts. Like this video and share. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And see y'all next one.